The story of Crazy Joe was torn from yesterday's headlines, and it's as terrifying as tomorrow's.
Good morning. Welcome back to Crazy Joe's Concession Stand. I'm Crazy Joe, and today we have a physical media review, a Blu-ray review. Today we're talking about Alfred Hitchcock's 1941 film, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is now available through Warner Archive. And if you're not familiar with Warner Archive, and you should be, Warner Archive is a on-demand service. These discs are made to order through Warner Brothers. If, you know, they're not just making these and stocking them on store shelves. You order it, they make it. It's some of the more obscure titles that they probably don't think would sell as well in mass retail, so they're made to order. That's what Warner Archive does, and they do a very, very good job. This copy was sent to me for a review, and this is Alfred Hitchcock's 1941 film starring Robert Montgomery and Carole Lombard. I'll be honest with you, I am a big Hitchcock fan, and I had never seen this before. This is a Hitchcock film I was not terribly aware of. I'd heard of it, but I hadn't seen it. And in fact, I don't think I've ever seen a movie with these stars. I don't think I've ever seen Carole Lombard or Robert Montgomery before. And I did a little bit of, to be fair, my research was pretty much limited to the featurettes on the disc. There are some featurettes on the disc called Hitchcock Meets the Smiths is one of them. And it's got a lot of people like Peter Bogdanovich and Robert Osborne discussing the film. I don't know if it was a segment that originally aired on Turner Classic Movies. Obviously, Robert Osborne was there, so maybe this is a segment that originally aired on Turner Classic Movies. I don't know, but they were talking about the history of the film and Carole Lombard. Carole Lombard was known as a comedic actress, and Hitchcock made this movie for her. It's pretty much considered to be Hitchcock's only out and out comedy. Nobody dies in this film. There's no suspense whatsoever. Hitchcock was obviously the master of suspense. There is no suspense in this film. It is not no kind of murder or whodunit or anything like that. This is just a comedy, and that's it. And they say Hitchcock did that basically because that's what Carole Lombard was known for, and he wanted to work with Carole Lombard. It's also one of his earliest films, 1941. So in fact, Hitchcock's first studio film in America was 1940. So this is only a year after he came to America, started making films in America. Before that, he was making movies in Britain. Carole Lombard, according to this featurette on here, Hitchcock Meets the Smiths, was the comedy inspiration for Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball really looked up to her, and tragically, she died 1 year after this movie was made. So, like I said, I had never seen this film before, but I love Hitchcock. So when I had the opportunity to review it, I needed to do so. And I checked it out last night, and I really like this movie. I really enjoy it. It is a comedy, but it's not a laugh out loud film. It's not something like the comedies we have today. It was a little more subtle, a little more of a quiet film. Our comedies today are a little more obnoxious. Not that that's a bad thing. It's just tastes have changed. It's just the humor of the day is a little different. The premise to this film is Mr. and Mrs. Smith have been married for 3 years. They have a very, very good marriage. One morning, Mrs. Smith asked Mr. Smith, if we had to do it all over again, if you could change history, do it all over again, would you still marry me? And he says, well, I don't regret our marriage. We have a good marriage. I love you. But honestly, no, because if I were single, I'd have more freedom. This is an answer that sits well with her, but that's the answer he gives her. And by fate, the next day, a man comes to visit them and tells them that their marriage is not valid. Apparently, they were married on the wrong side of a riverbank, and due to the way the area was zoned, it wasn't legal. There was some kind of oversight in their marriage. It wasn't legal. And if they want their marriage to be acknowledged, they need to remarry. But now, after that conversation, she refuses to remarry him. And what we get is a comedy as he tries to win her back, as they both try to date other people. It's a silly film, and it's also very Hitchcock. You know, all Hitchcock's movies were funny. If you look, Hitchcock put humor in everything. There was humor in Psycho. There was humor in The Birds. Hitchcock knew how to do humor, and there's a lot of the kind of humor we would expect from Alfred Hitchcock in this film. It's just a bit different for him because it's the only time he's ever done a film that is just straight out comedy. I really liked this movie. And Carole Lombard, she is a very, very talented comedic actress. And it did make me sad knowing that 1 year after this film, she would no longer be with us. Apparently she passed away in a car accident. This is a film that's over 80 years old. This film, 1941, over 80 years old, and yet it holds up. Okay, but we're talking about the movie. Let's talk about the disc. You want to know about the disc. Is this disc worth buying? The image is beautiful. I mean, it's a black and white image, it's a black and white image, but it's clean and crisp. It looks good. It looks really, really good. I can't imagine you're going to find a better picture of Mr. and Mrs. Smith anywhere. I know it's been on DVD. You probably get it on digital. I don't know if it's streaming on, Amazon Prime or Apple. It probably is. But I can't imagine you getting a better image than you get here. It looks really, really good. So let's open this up. There's the disc. And like I said, as a Warner Archive title, these are made on demand. And I will put a link where you can order this on Amazon down below. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you know better, correct me if I'm wrong. My friend Heath from Serial at Midnight has done a lot with Warner Archives. So he would be the expert. But I believe Amazon is the only place you can get Warner Archive titles now. I think they have some kind of an exclusive deal. Am I wrong on that? Am I wrong? Perhaps I am. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comment down below. Where's my hand? It's hiding behind the Blu-ray. Comment down below if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, I highly recommend Mr. and Mrs. Smith. If you are a Hitchcock fan, and this may be one that slipped under your radar, as it is one that slipped under mine. And I can't recommend it enough. I really enjoyed this, and I'm going to be revisiting this one again in the future. So thank you to Warner Archives, and everybody, until next time, keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the plastic feet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Tell everyone you meet.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the back door flap.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Don't open, it's a trap.
Oh no,
it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them
jammies.
They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander pajamas, but no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
Keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas.
I know we're having fun.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
And now the song is done.